Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome out to another episode of According to Kaz and Queen. And as always, I'm Kaz.
And I'm Queen.
And this is this little podcast of ours. These are conversations that take place between a husband and wife in the privacy of our own home that we bring to you guys, sometimes to make you laugh, sometimes to make you think, always to be introspective, and to always open up the lines of communication between men and women, husbands and wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, friends and lovers. All of those good things, man. We appreciate you guys for tuning in with us. Of course, as always, we are on all streaming services. So make sure you check us out there on all streaming services. We are also on Black with No Chaser Radio. All right. Make sure you download the BWNC Radio app, the BWNC Radio app. Make sure that you download that. All right. You can check us out. And there's a lot of other great podcasts on there as well. Our colleagues, our brothers in the podcasting world, the Vibe Controllers are new and on the BWNC Radio app as well. So make sure you check them out, and make sure you check us out on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on TikTok. And of course, we're on YouTube. So you know what the drill is. Of course, when I put my finger right here, bam, right there. Make sure that you are following that YouTube channel. All right. We're inching closer to 1,000 subscribers. We still at it again. All right. We still at it again. Make sure y'all holler at us. Make sure you go to youtube.com/Brad Kamikaze Franklin, youtube.com/Brad Kamikaze Franklin. Check it out. Make sure you follow us there. And of course, you know, this is brought to you by the Kundi Collection, www.kundicollective.com. That's www.kundicollective.com. And as we're getting ready for debate night, we have broken out the brand new logo, the brand new According to Kaz and Queen merch for all of you people out there that are fans and lovers of the show, that stop and tell me that you enjoy watching us on YouTube and listening to us and laughing at the stuff that we have to say. We got some merchandise for you, and we got some more coming up, but you can go to www.kundicollective.com and get your official According to Kaz and Queen right here T-shirts. You can get your According to Kaz and Queen merch. We're going to have T-shirts, and we're going to have hoodies coming up. We're going to break some of that out for y'all on debate night. We're going to tell you about debate night. It's coming up real fast, man. So we are excited about what's going on, man. So make sure you bask in the T-shirts while y'all are checking us out today, man. New logo is up. We got the banner up. We're in a new spot. Actually had somebody to comment on the YouTube page and said that the new setup makes them feel like they are right in front of us and right in our living room, enjoying the conversation with us, of course.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so we appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? We tried to make this as comfortable as possible because we are in the place where most of the conversations that we bring to you guys, this is the place. This is the exact place where these conversations take place. So it was only appropriate that we bring it to you guys right here. So we can go ahead and get this started, man. I sent this to you on the inbox from your favorite rapper of all time, who you love dearly, who can almost do no wrong. His name is Sean Carter, Jay-Z.
Woo! Y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Every time you say his name, just automatically happens.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Take it
okay?
easy. Yes, you're good.
Okay.
You're good. So we saw the Heart to Heart show. For those of you that have not watched Kevin Hart's Heart to Heart, there's some good interviews on there. Good interviews, some good guests.
Very good interviews.
Good information. He's in season 2. Season 2 had a lot of heavy hitters on there. He had The Rock on there. He had Dr. Dre on there. And, of course, he had Jay-Z.
Jay-Z was on season 1.
Jay-Z was on season 1. So, you know, the way that social media works, of course, someone plucked out this little clip from season 1 and put it up on the internet, and Jay-Z was kind of commenting with Kevin Hart about going to the family reunions and the cookouts and hooking up with family and having people asking him for money and pitching him ideas. And the internet, of course, took that and it became a debate for a couple of days. People were, asking the question. Jay-Z is a billionaire and his cousin was asking him for $4,800. I don't know how accurate of a story that was, but, Jay-Z, of course, told his cousin that he was not going to give him $4,800. And then there were those who said that, he was being a miser and he was wrong for that. And then there were those, of course, who said that the cousin was being entitled for asking for money. So this is your favorite rapper, but these are discussions that we've had. I don't know if we're actually the family members. We can't be, because I don't think anybody ever asked us.
I don't ask, and they don't ask me.
Okay. That's a pretty simple premise right there. Cut and dry. But in watching,
I accept though.
But in watching, absolutely. But in watching the clip, what are your thoughts? Jay-Z's a billionaire, and going to the cookout and having your cousins and family members asking you for money. Incidentally, Cedric the Entertainer had a clip where he said that he had to cut off the family fund that he had started, that he was giving money to the family members because they kept continuously
they're gonna run it out,
coming back and asking for money. But Jay-Z is a billionaire, so that's an entirely different tax bracket. But for you, what's your thought on that?
My thought is we don't have enough information to even be making any type of stances or giving any opinions at all.
I mean, well, that's true.
Because what do you need the money for? Jay-Z might not have believed in what he was asking for the money for. He might be a habitual asker. It could be that he's just gave him $5,000 a day before or a week before. Who knows? We don't have enough information to be counting that man's pockets and saying that he should have gave him the money. And we don't have enough information to say that the young man was entitled. Did Jay-Z say that himself?
He didn't say that the cousin was entitled. He did not say that. He just said that he wanted to be able to go to the family functions without being asked for money all the time.
When you think about it, if you're the successful person in the family that everybody comes to with their, I have this grand idea, I need your help, give me this, give me that, give me this. That's got to eventually become a little worrisome. Like you're going to run the man off from coming to the family functions if you keep on doing it. I don't have that much money, but I can understand how somebody, it's the same kind of thing as going to something family related and getting pulled into the side room and, asking for my expertise on something every 5 or 10 minutes. Now, my family doesn't do that, but I know that there are people who, work in my line of work who are actually going through this sort of thing.
So that doesn't happen to you?
No, I don't think so. Not really. If it does, it doesn't bother me.
Okay.
It does. It's not to the point to where it's intrusive. I'm actually happy to help. I actually, with my particular family, I actually, find pride in the fact that they may want to hear from me.
I mean, it's always good to be needed.
Yeah.
Or, your expertise or wisdom to be
because I'm the baby. So anybody who asks me for any information is going to be older than me. So if you want some words of wisdom from me, I'm elated.
That youngest and oldest dynamic that we have in the family, because the experiences
it's a big deal.
It
is. They are
different.
Yeah.
For you being the baby of the family, that definitely is a real thing. So for you, it's like, hey, you want to know my opinion on something?
Sit down,
Come on and sit down. For me, it's everything. We need to know your opinion on everything. What do you feel on everything? Even the stuff that you don't even care about. What do you think about it? What do you think we should do? Well, hell, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But, as the oldest, of course, they're going to ask. There's a certain responsibility that comes with being the oldest. And now with my parents being gone, now being pretty much the patriarch of the family. So all of that stuff tumbles uphill, doesn't tumble downhill, it tumbles uphill. But I don't think a lot of people, first of all, I don't think a lot of people understand. And I was saying this the other day in another conversation. I don't think people understand mathematically how much money $1 billion is, first of all. So I can see both sides. So here's my both sides, my flip sides of the coin. First of all, a lot of people don't realize how much money $1 billion is. Okay. $1 billion is not like a few million or 100 million or something along those lines. $1 billion is an enormous sum of money. I think somebody compared it to somebody having $50,000 and somebody asking you for a dime. And you've got $50,000 here in a briefcase and somebody asked you for a dime and they were saying this is the equivalent to Jay-Z of him giving someone a dime and he wouldn't do it. $1 billion is an astronomical amount of money. You know, he could literally give out millions, probably $1 million to each of his family members. He could give that out and he would still, you know, have a lot of money still.
How do you know that?
That's because that's
But
how much $1 billion
where he
is.
has his money invested or tied up in. You don't.
I
know
mean, of course,
what,
he doesn't have it liquid. You know what I'm saying? And,
like,
you know, everybody knows
okay,
that.
let's can we normalize staying out of folks' pockets?
I'm with that. I'm with it.
Because this is about to piss me off.
I'm with it.
You don't know what that man got to do with his money.
First of all, take it easy. Okay, this is not an indictment on Jay-Z. I know you get a little touchy
Sounds
about
like
that.
it.
It's not. I'm about to make my point.
Okay, make your
if
point.
you let me get there. All right.
Get the bait off your shoulder.
Hey, listen. First of all, I can see the cousin's point of view, and I can see the people who argued that point because $1 billion is a lot of money. We don't know how he has it. We don't know if it's in assets. We don't know if it's in real estate. We don't know what's liquid. He probably doesn't have $1 billion in the bank, but he could be worth $1 billion. So that's a different, you know, scenario altogether. That's A. On the other side, we don't know how irresponsible this cousin is. We don't know who this cousin is. We don't know if he's given this cousin money previously. We don't know if he's given out a lot of money to the family previously already besides this cousin. And we don't know what was the nature of the conversation when he came up to Jay-Z and said, hey, I got this idea. Give me $4,800. First of all, let's normalize for people, if we're going to normalize not counting people's pockets. If you do have a family member that's affluent that you think might possibly be able to fund a dream that you have, you don't go to them at the family reunion and pull them to the side and say, hey, I got this idea for XYZ. Give me $4,800. And then sit there for 20 minutes and try to explain to them the idea. You're going to explain the idea and tell them how great it sounds. You're going to tell them that this is a fantastic opportunity, and you're going to try to make it with your words. You're going to try to paint a picture for them as to why they need to invest this money in you. You ain't got a business plan. You don't have anything written down. You don't have a return on investment. You don't have any of those things.
And you don't have his attention because when he came here, he came for leisure.
Yes.
He did not come
That's the most
for
important thing.
business. Mm-hmm. This is not the appropriate time to be coming to him to say, invest in me. And he's coming there to kick it and relax and be himself and to be Sean instead of being Jay-Z. Like, you know, that's not the appropriate time for that.
It's not. You know, take a meeting. You know, you handle your family members, your affluent family members, and I know this is for athletes and for entertainers all the way across the board. You handle them like you would handle going to a bank. It's the same scenario. You have to treat them in the same fashion that you would treat a stranger at a bank or any financial institution that you are going for and you're asking for a loan. That's the first thing. That's the first thing that's going to get your pitch listened to. That's the first thing that's going to help you to get the respect of that family member because you're coming to them with an idea. People don't have money to just give away and just give to you. There are a lot of people out of the kindness of their heart who would. My wife knows that, you know, I'm very frugal, extremely frugal. If I had $1 billion, even if I had access to it and it was liquid, I don't think that I would be just handing out $5,000 here and there. It's just something that's just not in my nature. I think that's a difficult thing when you work for it. So, I mean, I just think it's hard, and I think it's disingenuous for you to be mad at Jay-Z because you don't know the situation, or to be mad at anybody. It is a sense of entitlement, in a sense, and also in another sense, you know, it's silly.
If I had $1 billion, I would do one of two things. I would give my siblings money, and I would stop any of their children from asking me. I'd tell them to ask their parents to give them money from the money I gave them. I'd give them a lump sum. Or the second thing I do is I'd put them on a monthly, I'm giving you money monthly. Don't ask me for nothing outside of what I give you. I'm giving you what I can afford to give you. What now is anything I give you is gonna be extra. I ain't trying to have you quit your job, but anything I give you gonna be extra and it'll help you out. But once I give that to you, you figure out what you're going to do with it, and don't keep coming back to me asking every time you have a bright idea for me to fund that, because it's not about how much money he has. It's really just about respect.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you go to asking for too much, it gets to be disrespectful. Ain't nobody over here. He got 3 children, 4 children, 2.
I mean, 3. That we know of.
Yeah. After that, and his wife, those are his obligations. So anything else that he does would be from the kindness of his heart. If he's not feeling kind one day, how you going to get mad at him on how he spent his money? He earned that money.
Indeed.
So you can't get mad.
I think.
But I ain't mad at him for shooting his shot. Shoot your shot.
You got to.
You got to shoot your shot.
You got to shoot it because you
just
don't know
need to
what
be
mood he's
smart
in.
About when to shoot your shot.
Yeah. And it's also good for you to go ahead and take that idea and start working on it, and maybe showing them that you already got some motion on it. And that also helps, coming to them with the idea, at its infancy stage, and you just trying to birth this idea. Sometimes people have to see that it works.
Most times.
If you're an artist, show him that you have some motion. Show him that you've got some traction on social media. Show him that you've got some traction on Spotify, and you want to do X, Y, Z, and then you might be able to do that. If you want to open up a food stand, show him that I've got a little motion on this already. I've got the truck, or I've got the idea for setting up here, or this is going to be the menu. Have all of that together.
Ask for an investment and show him how it would benefit him to be a part of what you're doing. That's your best bet. Asking for a handout is always going to be way down here, as opposed to asking for an investment.
And,
if it's for business. It could have been this dude saying, I want to buy an engagement ring, give me $4,800.
Could have been that.
It could have been anything. And he might have been like, yes, you buying an engagement ring. You the one want to get married. You need to earn the money to buy your engagement ring. He may be actually trying to teach this young brother how to be a man.
Yeah.
We don't know what that was about. So I think the judgment is premature.
And a lot of times, if they are affluent like that, they may not even be looking for the money to come back to them, but they want you to at least have some respect when you come to them for putting that together. And I think along the lines of what you're saying, I do the same thing. I'd sit everybody down and say, hey, here is your lump sum. You can do X, Y, Z, or I'm going to give everybody a lump sum. You got to come in the room. You got to tell me what you're going to do with the money, or do the monthly stipend thing. And tell them to tell their kids. The answer, I think I agree 100% with how you would handle that across the board. I think that's the easiest way to do it. And even in doing that, when you talk about, the article that I read on Cedric the Entertainer, even when you do that, somebody's going to keep coming.
Yeah,
and asking.
Sure.
He had money set aside in a fund for the family just to stop this issue from happening. And I think it was $25,000, if I remember correctly. And he said he had to stop doing it because people got entitled to it.
Now I can see that being the
so
case.
You can have somebody in the family that will screw it up for everybody else, because if you give it to them one time, they're going to come back again. They're going to come back again, again, and again.
That's true.
And they're going to use, and I can't even fathom being in that position, to have people entitled, first of all, and then constantly using I'm your cousin, I'm your brother, I did this for you in the 6th grade. You in the sellout. You not taking care of the family. You the XYZ. That's a very difficult decision to be in. Position to be in. It's a tough spot to be in. So even in Cedric trying to be good to his family, he still had to end up cutting people off. At the very least, come through and let me give you a job working in my camp and doing something. And I can just pay you a salary, and then that's cool. And I don't have to worry about you, just sitting around and asking. You know what I'm saying?
This idea of asking people for money that they earned is bothersome for me.
It happens.
I mean, if you're in a hardship, that's one thing. But just because I got it, you asking, that's troubling.
I mean, yeah, but it's human nature, and it's going to happen at the end of the day. But, I hate it for Jay-Z. I hope he's able to go to the cookout. I hope the interview, and I hope it going viral, maybe help some people in his family to not ask. Who knows? But you got potentially or probably the biggest hip-hop star, biggest hip-hop mogul that exists in the world at your house for the cookout, and he trying to chill. He's right there. I get it. You're trying to ask that question. You never know what mood he's in. That's cool. Drake gave somebody $50,000 at the concert because he had broke up with his girlfriend. So, maybe you can shoot your shot. Maybe you win. Maybe you don't. I don't know. At the end of the day. But speaking of that, and speaking of celebrities, and speaking of celebrities going home, I sent you this too as well. There was a study that was done, or an article basically that was done that talked about celebrity worship and people who worship celebrities not having very good cognitive skills and some other things along those lines. But, we have talked about this in the past. And of course, these are conversations that I've been in on social media as well with, a lot of the people who, are huge fans of the former coach of Jackson State University. But celebrity worship, which is kind of appropriate because you're a huge fan of Jay-Z. And we just got through
worshiping him though.
Yes.
It's a gigantic difference.
There's a line. So in your opinion, where does that line exist in your love of Jay-Z? However, you do at times dismiss things that could possibly be fuckery, of course, with people that you like. But what is the line?
I'm a super fan.
You're a super
of some
fan.
people.
Yes.
I am not a worshiper.
Right. So what's the line for you? What do you consider the line to be?
They human. That's the line.
That's it? That's just the line? That's it? Because they're human?
I can't go no further. Like, I can't worship them because they are human. They are just men who've been fortunate, you know what I'm saying, to have a different type of life than I have. But, there's a connection. You're able to build a connection. But outside of that connection, worship, no.
So...
That's all I got. Worship, no.
And it's kind of cut and dry like that. No.
I don't think anybody would admit to worshiping these people, though, would they?
Okay, so when I say worship, I don't mean in the sense of, when Peter Griffin on Family Guy went and he started the Church of Elvis and like worshiping Elvis, like in a literal sense.
Because that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's not that. It's the pictures and the videos. I saw somebody posted a video of a guy who was at the Beyonce concert, and Beyonce came out on stage and he started crying. And the reach out
like
with the
people
hand.
Who was falling out at the Michael Jackson concerts.
Michael Jackson, I think, would probably be, for us or our generation, will probably be, the go-to when you say celebrity worship. But now Beyonce being the closest to Michael Jackson like that we have. Mm-hmm. There was a picture of a guy and he was weeping. He was literally weeping as if Jesus had just descended from the sky and landed on the stage. He was weeping. It moved him so much. And that's a guy that I think that if you said anything bad about Beyonce, he might kill you.
Mm. Was this at a concert?
This was at one of the concerts, one of the Renaissance concerts.
Well, I'm going to tell you from what I've seen and the people I have spoken to, the energy was super high at every one of her shows. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And if you are sensitive to energy or empathic, it's very hard to not be consumed by that energy. And she's the direct focal point because she's the one who is at the helm of the energy in the building. Mm-hmm. So the energy was directed to Beyonce, but I'm not sure necessarily that it was, worship as much as it was just being filled with the energy in the room. People have described it as feeling very free, very just like relieving, because it was people were able to be themselves. It was a room full of people who were able to be themselves in a safe space, enjoy some music, sing along. Beyonce is very participatory with her crowd. So people felt like they were a part of what she was doing up there. The experience itself was high energy. Mm-hmm. I am one of those people, empathic and very sensitive to energy. So I have been at concerts where I have cried, and a lot of it comes from the energy in the room, but it starts with the person who is providing the energy, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just automatically going to be Beyonce because it's a Beyonce show. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. And I can't argue that point. I think for me, because you can be a part of an experience and it move you spiritually.
I mean, it happens in people's churches every Sunday.
Yes.
So,
which is a house of worship.
And they can accept it in church, and that's fine. But if it happens, and it's music, right? Mm-hmm. Music is really the catalyst
it's music
of it.
Made by a particular person. So it's different than you worshiping a deity per se. Much along the lines of you saying, okay, they're still people.
That depends on the person. The individual.
Okay, that's fair. So
I've seen, I don't mean to cut you off, but I have seen, the candles that I sell, the affirmed candles. Mm-hmm. I have seen candles that are affirmed with Beyonce's energy out there. I think that's crazy. But there are basically they put her picture on there and put the energy of whatever it is that Beyonce like energy that they want to put into the candle. They put it on there.
They're just putting her picture
the
on
picture
the candle?
Is on the candle, yeah. I've seen it for Beyonce. I've seen one for Michael Jackson. Yeah. They out there wild.
It's supposed to be having their energy on the candle.
I suppose, yeah. When I affirm candles, I'm putting an energy into the candle. Mm-hmm. So when I see a Beyonce candle that looks like the candles that I affirm, I assume that they trying to do the same thing.
What do you feel about that? Do you feel like they're being genuine in saying that they've got Beyonce's energy affirming this candle? Do you think that's genuine?
I'm not gonna say that. I don't know if I would measure it as genuine or not, because I actually believe that it depends on the user and the person who made the candle. Mm. I have difficulty when it comes to that, because I don't even purchase stuff from people that I don't know. Mm-hmm. So it would be difficult for me to know what I was getting out of this candle with Beyonce face on it. So that I wouldn't partake, me personally.
So for me, and that's part of it, and
because that is what I think about worship.
I can't
that's
disagree
worshiping.
with you. For me, it is the people. For instance, when R. Kelly was on trial, the people who completely were in denial about the fact that he did this, and in no way, shape, form, or fashion found any fault with R. Kelly at all. The people who, when Tory Lanez shot Meg Thee Stallion in the foot, of which he is now incarcerated for and will be for close to 10 years, still.
And I don't understand how he got so much time.
I got to go back and look at it. And it depends also because of where it happened as well. But I'll go back and we'll put a pin in that for later on. But the people who could find no wrong in Tory Lanez for what he did, the people who could find no wrong in Bill Cosby, the people who, find no wrong in the former coach of Jackson State University. People who ride with people so hard that even when they blatantly do fuck shit or are bad people, it is dismissed. That for me is what celebrity worship is, because then at that point, that's in essence, to me, it's like a Christian can find no fault in Jesus Christ, the perfect being, and finding no fault in it. So they're not going to accept any criticisms of that. But when you have these folks that have clear evidence of the person that you like doing fuckery, and you still support them and deny the existence of said fuckery. There are still people right now to this day that are saying that R. Kelly does not deserve to be locked up, that Bill Cosby does not deserve what he's gotten, that Tory Lanez did not deserve what he's gotten, that, everything that they do is lauded and applauded, even when it's wrong. And that, for me, is what celebrity worship is.
Okay.
I think, there's a lot of people. It took a lot of time to come on board with understanding that R. Kelly is, a creep who did creep-like behavior and deserves to be where he is. Bill Cosby, all of the great things that Bill Cosby did, yes. To me, does it take away from what Bill Cosby did? No, he did a lot of great things. However, a tremendous character flaw and a tremendous error in judgment can wipe out a lifetime of good shit if you're not careful. And for those who still support it, that to me is celebrity worship. And they do it with a lot of people a lot of times. That's what I feel. Is there anything that Jay-Z could do to have you to say, hey, I can't rock with him anymore?
I cannot write.
Because I think you're about to give me an example of what I would call celebrity worship right now. So I'm gonna
by your definition, I guess I would be a celebrity worshiper, because in terms of speaking about Bill Cosby, I don't think what he did wipes away the goodness that he's done.
Doesn't wipe it away. It still exists. It's on record.
You just said it wipes it away.
It's on record.
I see. For me, it doesn't. It just doesn't. But I can't righteously think of what Jay-Z could do. Rape somebody, maybe?
Okay.
I mean, he muffed a girl in the face. That didn't do it.
Well, they said at that time he was just playing.
I don't know what if he left Beyonce, that wouldn't do it.
No, that wouldn't do it. I mean, people leave people all the time.
So yeah, I don't know what it would be.
Murder?
Not necessarily.
Wow.
It depends on what happened, why he murdered them.
He shot somebody in cold blood.
For what though? They might have deserved it. He might have felt threatened.
They stepped on the shoes.
Except Jay-Z wouldn't do that.
Okay. That was a bad example. But,
So the thing that I think you might be missing is that, and I'm speaking to you as a super fan,
mm-hmm.
when we connect to an individual and they we carry them through these times in our lives and they become a part of, our development for
mm-hmm.
whatever reason.
Mm-hmm. When
you attack them, that connection is attacked, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's difficult for us to separate the usness from the themness at that point. So insulting or trying to make us not listen to R. Kelly because R. Kelly is a creep, or them because I don't really anymore, depending. I do sometimes. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But, you're taking away something from me that has been a part of me. And I'm able to separate what that was for me from who he was when he wrote it. And I'm just speaking in a general term. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But R. Kelly is egregious. Like, he is not on the same lines to me as a lot of these other people that you mentioned. R. Kelly is kind of in a category of his own because he just kept on and kept on. I mean, it's just like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was continuously accused of touching little boys.
Because he continuously put himself in those compromising
but
situations.
He still didn't get the R. Kelly treatment. People are still playing Michael Jackson to this day, everywhere you go.
It's Michael Jackson.
So does that mean that when you get to a certain point, it's okay to overlook it?
It's not okay to overlook it. And really, in my heart of hearts, if we're being honest here, even with the naivete that Michael Jackson exhibited in a lot of instances, and I don't think he was as naive as he tried to come across, something happened somewhere.
Where there is smoke,
something was inappropriate.
There is fire.
Now,
that came up way too much.
It came up way too much. He was doing it all the time and was not. He was kind of laissez-faire about doing it too, as well. He said that he was doing it, and he was like, "I'm just chilling."
People let him make it because he played this childlike innocent.
I mean, it's Michael Jackson.
No, he. Couldn't be me. That type of thing. But in the back of our heads, we were all going, Michael, I don't know. I think you did that shit. You know what I'm saying?
He made Thriller.
He made Thriller.
He made Thriller.
R. Kelly made quite a bit of songs too.
He didn't make Thriller.
He made
you can name all of them. It was not Thriller.
So it's a whole generation of kids out here right now that are here because R. Kelly made 12 Play. And Sex Me. And the remix of Sex Me. And the remix of the remix of Sex Me.
I hear you say that, and I hear people say that all the time. All right. Okay.
Let's move along.
I can't argue that point.
But anyway,
I don't know if you're trying to make that
there's a difference between super fan and worship. It seems like to me, for you, both of them are one and the same.
Do you think that people who worship celebrities in that sense, in whatever sense, do you think it could be scientifically proven that they lack good cognitive skills?
I read that article. It was didn't really jive well with my mental capacity.
Really?
Nah. It seemed like a reach to me.
Maybe.
But I only did read that one article. I am willing to do more research on that thought process, but it just seemed like a reach to me.
About whether or not scientifically, if you can prove that people who are really in-depth and on the celebrity worship.
There's probably an argument there somewhere deep down up in there.
You could probably make the point.
Yeah.
But it probably needs to be a little bit more research on it. At any rate, moving on to the last thing I wanted to talk about, there's also an article that I sent that, and I've seen a lot of this lately, a lot of this. There is a sentiment from a lot of people out there, more so than I've ever seen, for not wanting to be married, not wanting to have kids. I think the sentiment of, take care of yourself, set boundaries with people, all those things that this article talked about. But there is a sentiment out there from a lot of people that, marriage and having kids is not the goal anymore and not the thing to reach for. And I'd rather not just deal with it. And even if it's not the married thing, there are a lot of married people who have made the conscious decision off top that I don't want to have kids. And I don't know if this is going to be a trend that's going to grow. I have my thoughts on it. But, as a married couple and as a happily married man looking at it, I'm disappointed in a sense, but also I can understand it in a sense. From being a married man and having kids, I can understand the sentiment. But do you think it's something that is affecting more young people? Do you think it's a sign of the times? Do you think it's a trend? Why do you think that's the case right now?
I think it's a sign of the times, actually, the times we live in. But if I'm being quite honest here, I think they need to do another study to see how many people are saying that because they are riddled with trauma or because they really do feel like they don't want children or they don't want marriage. I think a lot of people say they don't want it because they don't believe they can have it because it hasn't worked out for them. That's not saying all of them. I know plenty of people, not plenty, a few. I know a few people who righteously in their souls don't want children, which is easier for me to believe than to believe that they don't want marriage. Children ain't for everybody. Marriage is not for everybody.
They're not. And we've got clear cases that exist of people who did not need to have children.
Yeah, there are plenty of people out there who should not be forced to parent.
Should not. And should not be parenting. Like almost to the point where the kids should be taken away from them. Yeah.
Well, hell, there's some people that's married whose spouses should be taken away.
That's true. That's true. I think when you got into the tradition of this is what you're supposed to do, you know, we all, for those of us that are older, came up in this world where, you know, you're supposed to go to college, you get a job, you get married, you have kids. You got the older people. I always talk about, you know, for me, it's just extremely off-putting. You know, we watch The Neighborhood. We're fans of The Neighborhood. And Pam, I keep calling her Pam because that's how we know her. But Tachina Arnold, her character on The Neighborhood, was always pressing up on her sons to give her grandkids. Like you are almost putting pressure, unbelievable pressure on your sons to give you a grandchild because you want a grandchild. And when one of the sons, Marty, said that he didn't want to have kids, and him and his wife weren't going to have kids, she was visibly upset and verklempt about that.
But it turned out that he really did want to have children.
It did.
He just was with a woman who didn't. So he just accepted her position, but that's not what he really wanted. I will say this. I think that what we're seeing in this time right now in our lives is our generation being more open with our children and giving them the freedom to express themselves and indulging in their thought processes and having full-on conversations with them, things that our parents didn't do. Our parents told us this is what it is. You go to school, you go to college, you graduate high school, you go to college, you find you a man, you get married, you have some children. That's your life. We are teaching our children, and most people our ages are teaching our children to find yourself and do what makes you happy. So in turn, we're finding that some people are identifying that I don't necessarily need to be married to be happy.
Right.
I don't necessarily need to have children to be happy.
Right.
Women are finding that I don't necessarily want a man. I might want a woman. Men are finding I am not interested in women. I want a man. Because we have lifted that shallow veil that was placed on us from our parents who did it because their parents did it to them, who did it because they needed to give them a directive because there was no directive before that. This is the plan. Follow this plan. Do that. Well, now we don't have to do that. So we're living in a time where people are building their lanes instead of following the lanes that were put down for them. Yeah. So of course we're going to find that more people are opting out of marriage and opting out of having children. So I think it's a sign of the times, most definitely.
And I think that's fair. And I think as time evolves, I think it's cool. I'm going to be honest with you. I think there are a lot of younger people that watched their parents struggle. Not just in marriage, but they watched their parents struggle to raise them and feed them and clothe them. And were cognizant of the challenges that existed in taking care of kids. And I think a lot of people was like, hell, I don't want any parts of that.
It's a lot of kids who raise their siblings who have said, when I get done with them, I done raised children. I don't need any more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I think it's fair because the cost of living now, I think people, you know, even when I'm thinking about it now, I get lightheaded because, you know, my sons, my daughters could possibly be raising kids in a generation where the prices on shit just become so exorbitant that it's just crazy. Like I'm scared for where things are going to go, from where the housing market is going to go, from what it's going to cost. Like I remember car notes when I got my first car. My car note was $175.
Wow. When was that?
I think it went up to.
Was that in this decade? Like, when was that?
Hey, listen. I know you get tickled all the time because you try to imply and make reference to my age. And mind you,
I love your age.
you're not that far behind.
I
but,
love your age.
You know, we're talking about the early 90s when I got my first car. Car notes was $175, $200 something. I had a brand new Nissan Sentra. It was a brand new Nissan Sentra right off the lot.
Wow, that was a good deal.
I had a car lot story similar to the one that Ali Sadiq had, because I took my uncle Keena, that I rapped about on the Crooked Letters album. My uncle Keena went with me to co-sign for me for my first car. And the experience was almost similar because he had to go with me to co-sign this car after one of his nights of being out till early in the morning. He had been on a bender and we had to find him and grab him, and he had to go with me to the car lot place for me to get this car.
He must have had super good credit. That's probably how you had such a low.
He worked at, a lot of people don't know this. We're in Jackson, Mississippi, of course, and I'm talking to you, but there was a furniture factory that was right on Livingston Road, right before you get to the Jackson Medical Mall now. And the building is abandoned. And I'll show it to you, or show you the lot when we drive by it one time next time. Anyway, he worked a good job and retired from the job. He worked in this furniture factory and worked there all his entire life. Had retirement, pension, all of that stuff. You know, in those days, people were very adamant about keeping their credit good. You know, getting a pension, getting my retirement, getting my benefits, all that kind of stuff. All that was there. And, you know, he went with me to get this car. But at any rate, in the early 90s, the car notes were $175, $200 something. He went up to like $300. Now, like, you know, one of my sons is paying close to $700 a month for his car note for a brand new car. And most people are paying $500, $600 a month for a car note now. And it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? I was looking at someone who posted about the housing crisis, and here locally, you know, there was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house and the rent on it was $2,200 in Jackson. And I don't know, for in other places, I know it's probably even worse than this. I know if you're living in New York or Chicago and places like that, in metropolitan areas, the price of living is just getting out of hand. You almost can't be married and have kids because another person just in your cipher, just around you, is going to raise the cost of living for you exorbitantly. If you got to go someplace where you got to actually live with somebody else, or if you got to raise kids in it, like, I think people are like, look, I don't even want to put myself in that position. You know, people are opting out of going to college and getting loans so that they don't have to owe student loans. I think we have shown them how crazy stuff is out here these days. And I think this younger generation of kids is like, hey, we don't want to have to be burdened with that, because it's those financial burdens that we have right now that have our economy in the state that we have it in. And kids are expensive, man. Kids are expensive. You know, we got a 13-year-old wants to go to the fair, and the turkey legs are $20 at the fair now. I remember when they were $7. They're $20. You go with $20, you basically broke. You go to the fair. And this is a 13-year-old. So just imagine us who loves the fair food. I can't wait to go get it. But just imagine going in, you about to spend $80, $90.
And you ain't rode nothing, ain't played nan game.
Ain't rode nothing, ain't played nan game. You know what I'm saying? Some people are going to take a date to the fair and they going to spend $200 at that fair within 20 minutes and ain't going to even have sex afterward. It's going to be terrible.
Fair is not an automatic sex date.
I don't know where you coming from, but A fair date.
I'm talking about just on the normal thinking pattern. It's not a date you take somebody to. It's usually like a family thing. You don't take somebody on a date and expect, unless you take them somewhere else after. You don't automatically assume sex is happening after a fair date.
If I was driving, I come to pick you up. We're in college. Maybe even as far back as being a senior in high school. If I come pick you up in my folks' car and we go to the fair, we finna pull up in a nook and cranny somewhere on that lot.
All right. Touche.
And get some fair loving.
All right. Okay. Good to know.
Really?
Good to know.
Did you have some fair dates? Did you go on fair dates?
Mm-mm.
You did?
You're my only fair date.
That's a lie.
He never believes anything I tell him.
That's your only fair date?
I've never been to the fair on a date with anybody except you.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, well then maybe that's why
I've
you don't
been to the
understand what I'm
fair
saying.
in groups where there were boys and girls, but that wasn't a date.
There was a guy in that group that you was liking, right?
Yeah, but we didn't come together.
You don't
I went with
necessarily
my
have to come
girls. He
together.
came with his boys.
Most of the fair dates are meetups at the fair.
That ain't a date to me.
It ain't?
Mm-mm.
If you're in high school, it is.
It wasn't a date then either.
Really? Okay, well, that's cool. All right. Well, I'm sure the fair is coming to wherever you are. If you're listening to us right now, the fair is actually in Mississippi right now. So, if you're listening to us in Mississippi, enjoy the fair. If you're someplace else, the fair has probably been there. You probably already had your fair date. And if you have, I hope the night ended well for you if you spent money on turkey legs and cinnamon rolls.
Hope you got some.
Yeah, I hope you got some after spending that kind of money right off the bat, ladies and gentlemen. But at any rate.
Before we go, can I say one thing?
What's that?
I want to give a shout out.
Give a shout out
to my African dance and drumming team.
Yes.
I have been taking an African dance class and drumming class for the last 2.5 months. And we just ended last weekend. And I just wanted to say thanks to Dr. B-Rob. You are amazing. Thank you for bringing this opportunity to so many of us. It was a wonderful experience. I thought I was just going to be going in. My thought process was that I was going to go in there and it was going to bring me closer to my ancestors and help me spiritually be able to tap in another way besides meditation. I could be drumming and dancing as a way of staying connected to my ancestors. But it turned out to be a very, very insightful experience for me personally. It made me have to deal with my weight, my age, don't move like I used to. In my mind, I'm still able to do some of the things that I did at 20. My body is like, wait a minute, who told you that? We don't move like that anymore. Then I had to learn how to stay positive in the act of being bombarded with negative emotions, because I was losing confidence in myself like every class that I wasn't able to do something. So I'd have to come back after every class and deal with that thing because I didn't want to hold it. So I had to deal with that lack of confidence that I was going through and feeling kind of disappointed in myself. Dr. B-Rob and some of the other coaches were very, very supportive to kind of keep encouraging and whatnot. I thought about quitting every single weekend.
That's the truth. I
cried often.
That's the truth.
But I pushed through. Thanks a lot for you for being encouraging, for Dr. Rob and the team for being encouraging, but also for the ancestors who I know continuously whispered in my ear saying, you can do this. I put too much pressure on myself, and the ancestors continuously told me, you're doing way too much. Like, I just need you to come to the class. All you got to do is show up. We'll do the rest. And I felt that every time I was in there. It was a very moving experience, but it was not just about dancing and drumming. But I just feel really great to have made it through the whole class. I really thought I was going to quit before it ended, and I did not. I was able to lose a couple of more pounds. I was able to become more or reconnected with my body, which I didn't even realize I had become unconnected, but I was able to reconnect with my body. I have some things that I can now do on my own to stay connected to my body, which is very important, ladies. Don't let yourself get disconnected from your body. And it happens without you even knowing it, especially if you're continuously doing the same thing every day and you don't push yourself. So you never know what you're able to do and what you're not able to do. So, now I am looking for a way to continue African dance class after the dance class, because it struck something in me. It is a way to stay connected to the ancestors, but it's also a way to continue to grow in the me-ness of me. So shout out to y'all. It was a great class and a great experience, and I love everybody who was in that room. The drummers were magnificent, and it was just great.
Cool.
So shout out.
And you finished it. And I'm proud of you for finishing it.
It was tough.
And you can use this as the stepping stone to go to the next thing. It was a learning experience. You learned about yourself, and you learned where you are at now in life, and you are becoming cool with that. And you are accepting that, and accepting where you are, and accepting having to work through some of those obstacles and some of those. And some of the times you got to work through stuff immediately. Like you got to really sit down with it and put that thing to work and figure it out. We got to talk about that, because when you become comfortable with your mortality, and you become comfortable with aging, and you become comfortable with the evolution that comes with age and experience, it's a lot easier to handle it than trying to fight it and trying to deny it. Embracing it is a lot easier, and it takes a lot of stress off of it.
I think my problem was I just had not given any thought to it. Yeah, I know when I get on the treadmill, I got to stretch first. When I wake up in the morning before I go to the gym, I know I got to stretch first. My body ain't what it used to. Yeah, I know that. But dancing, in my mind, some kind of way, I felt like that wasn't the same thing. I could still do that, but knees ain't the same, your wind is not the same. So it's very different. And if you're not cognizant of it, it'll take you. So I learned so much from this class, so much about what I have not been paying attention to. This whole year for me actually has been a lot about me figuring out things that I've just taken for granted for 20 years, So this was just more of that.
That's good. We definitely want to talk about that and touch on that a little bit more. Just, embracing it, embracing life, and embracing the wisdom. I think that's an important thing. And I'm going to talk about that dance class a little bit more. Don't forget, guys, November the 24th, debate night. This is Jackson, Mississippi. Is going to be the first city. It is a live, interactive, social experience with libations and live music. It's going to be grown folks talk. It's going to be Kaz and Queen. It's going to be our homies, the Vibe Controllers. It's going to be Melanie Sanders, Pia Najar. We're going to be at Center Stage, Jackson, Center Stage Event Center on November the 24th. Tickets are on sale now. They went on sale October the 2nd. And you're going to see the promo out there. Basically, you're going to see what me and my beautiful bride do here. We're going to do it live on stage. The Vibe Controllers are going to do their thing live on stage. Melanie and Pia, we're going to be talking about dating. We're going to be talking about marriage. We're going to be talking about sex, love, rock and roll, all of that good stuff, man. We're going to be talking about it with some great live performances and some libations. It's going to be a very cool, interactive experience. It's a take on date night. So get your significant other, Get your wife, get your husband, get your girlfriend, boyfriend, your fiance, or if you want to make it a date night with your homegirls, you can come and do that. If you want to make it a date night with the homies, y'all don't have to call it a date night if that feels weird to you. Date night with the homies. Boys night out. Or you could, come with whatever. You can make it a double date. We even got VIP tables for the double dates.
You might come single, but you might leave with somebody.
You might leave with somebody, you know what I'm saying, to come in. So you have the opportunity to ask questions, get involved in the conversation. It's going to be really an interactive social experience unlike anything that the city has ever seen before. Jackson, Mississippi is going to be the first city, and we're taking it all on the road for 30 pluses. All right. It's going to be grown folks talk. I know y'all are used to seeing a lot of the 20-somethings on social media give their take on relationships. But them youngsters ain't lived life yet. They don't know about this marriage thing and what it's like being deep off in this thing, man. And they don't know what dating is like when you get into your 40s and your 50s. So we're going to talk about that for people that can understand that.
Or 30s, 35.
Or 30, 35 and up too at the same time. So it's going to be a grown folks night. Make sure you check it out. All the information is out there. You can make sure you follow this channel and make sure you follow Debate Night on YouTube as well. Go follow the Debate Night channel. Follow Debate Night on all the socials. Follow Debate Night on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok as well. And you're going to see all of that promo out there, man. We took a really dope photo shoot.
What's the IG handle?
It's Debate Night. The IG handle is It's Debate Night. Debate Night on Facebook and Debate Night on YouTube. So make sure you go and check it out and you'll see all that dope promo, man. The promo was going to be really dope. Rollout is going to be dope. The photo shoot was dope. It's going to be crazy. Something unlike anything that you've seen before. It's going to be really cool, man. So shouts out to everybody that's participating. So on that note, we always get to the end and then there's something that we forgot that we had to go on to. But we're now officially at the end of the episode. We appreciate you guys for joining us and sticking with us. Of course, we are live. All right. Season 3. I'm sorry. Of According to Kaz Queen. As always, I am Kaz.
I'm Queen.